operationally, we find ourselves not spending a lot of time dealing with students with cell phones and really finding ourselves engaging more efficiently as we set up operations and we know that they impact teaching and learning in our classrooms. And in family and community partnerships, you'll hear also how our families are responding to the cell phone free learning environments as well. And so, yes.
Excuse me for 1 second. I'd like to welcome Alder Marks.
Welcome.
And so with that, I'll turn it over to our team to talk about the rollout and implementation of the Yonder project. And one more thing, I just want to say thank you on behalf of Dr. Negron to the City of New Haven, to our Board of Alders for approving this purchase as well. So we thought to come before you this evening, especially to let you know how your investment is going. So with that, I'll turn it over.
So, Yonder actually made way into our buildings, not this past school year, the school year before. We piloted it with several schools of our K-8s. And last year went into full implementation of Yonder pouches for all of our K-8 buildings. The first slide you'll see is just pictures of what the Yonder pouches look like with the locking mechanism, the unlocking and locking mechanism. Students will enter the building each day, acquire a pouch. They put all wearable technology into the pouch, and then it's locked and they carry the pouch with them throughout the day. At the end of the day, it's unlocked, the wearable technology is taken out, the pouch is returned, and the kids go home on their way. So those are...
Principal Baldwin as an example.
I was going to say,
would anyone like to put their pouch
in there? We will be able to lock and unlock it.
So Baldwin, he'll demonstrate at some point.
Right. So this is just two pictures of what Yonder pouches look like and what our kids carry around each day. If you go to the next slide, it's a slide that just talks about what is the definition of a cell phone free learning space. What we're finding across the country, and like Assistant Superintendent Redhannon's explained, post-COVID, we were seeing more kids on their cell phones and there was not a lot of social interaction happening. Many schools across the country have moved towards a cell phone-free environment. This movement is really gaining traction due to the concerns around student safety, mental health, and academic performance. A cell phone-free learning environment basically is when students come to school and are required to put their cell phone or any other wearable device like an Apple Watch or earbuds into a pouch. The pouch is then locked, it's stored safely throughout the day, and then at dismissal, the technology is returned. And the goal is to really create an environment that focuses on learning and minimizes the distractions that kids have with being on their cell phones and easy access to the cell phones. If you go to the next slide. This is some of the recent studies that were done on cell phone free spaces. The United States Surgeon General issued an advisory on social media and youth mental health, which highlights the concerning relationships between excessive unrestricted social media use and increased mental health challenges among our youth. There was also research that suggests that social media has significant negative impact on brain development at a time in adolescence when identities and sense of self-worth are forming and social rewards, pressures, and acceptance are paramount. The other information also talks a little bit about how distracting cell phones can be, such as notifications during the school day, the lure of social media platforms, just resulting in lost instructional time. Other studies have also shown that this is an important time for kids to develop concentration skills, especially during adolescence. And if they're distracted by use of cell phones, it actually diminishes their ability to concentrate on schoolwork and the task at hand. And then non-academic cell phone use during learning time, it poses a problem because kids are not paying attention to what's being instructed, being taught, and it can take up to 20 minutes for kids to actually refocus and re-engage in the actual lesson. Right?
When I came before you at the Finance Committee to discuss Yonder pouches, these were some of the areas of concern, and like, how do I reach my child during the day? Part of it's really calling the main office, who will get in touch with the classroom, the way most of us experienced our elementary and high school experiences. Parents reach us through the school main phone. If there's an emergency, there are multiple unlock systems so that we can unlock it quickly, as well as we have our district platforms to get messages out to families in the case of emergency. And then also, students are in possession of their material. They keep all of their Wobble Tech on them, but it's sealed away for the entire time. And if they forget to turn it in, they have to turn in the pouches to staff for the day, and it will come back afterwards. And then for our medically fragile, we have pouches that don't lock, but can be used to do continuous glucose monitoring at times. But again, it's a conversation and communication that, no, you're not checking your glucose every 15 minutes, you check it at your prescribed times, as well as we still monitor. Most school nurses monitor it as well. And just creating responsible uses for this, and a lot of conversations. In terms of implementation, all of our K-8s are using them in our grades 5 and up. In a little bit, we'll hear about the pilot at New Haven Academy for the high school experience. And of course, we're launching all high schools, so that will bring us to all schools in use, well, with the exception of Dr. Mayo. The babies won't carry. And we have some of the administrative feedback. Students are reporting, not reporting as many peer conflicts. Behaviors associated with the cell phones have decreased significantly. We're not having it during the day where they're texting each other to taunt or have other issues. And also, students are starting to learn to talk to each other. A lot more conversations. So we've heard more noise in places because it's conversations that are clicking away. And by doing the front loading of these expectations, it's been better than we've expected, because we know at first glance it's like this is a huge mountain to climb. And through a lot of work and preparation, especially at the building level, the conversations with families, the conversations with students have brought to that we do have that compliance by our students. And then, of course, we will have some that will not, but again, we handle that as it comes up.
On the next slide, you'll look at some student feedback. We actually talked to the kids about how they felt about Yonder pouches, and at first kids were telling us it's really hard to give up my phone. Now I don't even think about it, I just do it. I'm more focused. One student said, I have my phone on me all day, even though I don't use my phone. I have access to my Chromebook and I have what I need to be successful in my classes. Another middle schooler said, I did not like it at first, but now I am used to not having my phone. There's no drama in school because of the cell phones. So I thought that is a link to the News Channel 8 excerpt. We had WTNH at Truman School when we launched in March. We don't have to play it now, but you can take a look at the live link. It's an interview that, like I said, WTNH did at Truman School. We interviewed students and parents about cell phone. I will tell you, the parent piece has been critical. There's been a lot of buy-in from parents around the pouches. I can tell you that, like Dr. White said, there was a little bit of a fear of, how do I get a hold of my child? Call the school, we'll get a hold of your child. So I think the fact that we're not calling parents as much around the cell phone drama that's been happening has been, it's a good thing that came out of the rollout.
And I'll turn it over to Principal Baldwin.
So Dr. Negron asked us at New Haven Academy to pilot this as a high school, and much to the chagrin of our student body, I jumped at the chance. I really look forward to it. So we've had for 15 years a policy at New Haven Academy of off and away from cell phones. Echoing what Assistant Superintendent Hannes was talking about, after the pandemic, we were trying to figure out how do we get back to that? How do we get back to really enforcing it in the classroom? It was a real challenge. And so we saw Yonder as a tool. It's not a policy, it's a tool. It's a way to enforce that idea. And it matched with our values, why we want phones to be away. We want kids to connect in real life. So we jumped at the chance. So February 5th was our rollout day. We started it. So we had about 3.5, 4 months of the policy. And teachers we informed teachers in August and then had a lot of time to plan, informed families in December. And there was a lot of concern about how it would work. What I try to convey to teachers, and this is borne out, I don't know, I think it's probably borne out at the K level as well, is it actually took something off. They have less work to do because it's not up to each individual teacher to figure out who's got their phone out, who's looking at their phone, and otherwise. So that's made a huge impact on the culture. In a culture where we already had off and away, we saw immediate change to the culture for the positive in terms of the level of engagement, concentration in class, the level of effort. We, at the high school level, I met with student leadership groups beforehand to hear their concerns, complaints, and to enlist their support. What they asked for was things that they could do to help spend their time. So we bought lots of games for the cafeteria and other ways for kids to be able to connect with each other without looking at their phones. We made sure that we had all the other technology that we would need so their academics don't suffer. We have Chromebooks with access to all the technology for classroom use, so it's not an anti-technology policy, it's an anti-phone and social media policy. That's really worked. 90% of the issue for us is entry. Can we get kids to put phones in these pouches at entry? And we made a huge effort to make sure that happened, and it had real success. We also tell another parent thing is kids can keep their phone on airplane mode. If any parent has a tracker, they can still track while it's in airplane mode, but kids aren't getting messages and aren't noticing. And we made sure to make ourselves available for communication. So entry has been really important. Teachers understanding that it's actually taking something off their plate has been really important. And the culture of not having phones has been, kids have snuck phones in, kids have done other things. We have really clear policies on what happens. 99% of that is happening outside of the classroom. The classroom, it's not even an issue anymore. So it's been really positive and a great step. Happy to answer more questions, show you a demonstration, talk more about our policies and how it works at the building level in any way that we can.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from my colleagues? Yes, Alderman Marks.
Thank you for the presentation. How much does the Yonder program have just cost so far? What was the cost? $340,000. That's not a portion of it. So it's $340,000 to do 5 through 12 Yonder patches. Thank you.
With the locking devices.
Thank you. Can somebody else just explain to me? I guess I've just been thinking about this. I've been reading about it in the paper, and I thank you for thinking creatively. Sort of really what the need for the pouches is. I understand the need for schools and classrooms to be phone free. I know of schools that don't do it this way. There's like a lock cabinet in the classroom, kids deposit it, the teacher locks the cabinet, that was free. So just sort of interested to know sort of why the expenditure on this for some sort of locked class cabinet in the classroom.
Oh, I'm happy to talk about it from the building level. As a school that's been trying for years to enforce the off and away. So first of all, what I've noticed with this is it's anxiety reducing. I still have my phone on me. My phone isn't with anyone else. It's in my pocket. I know where it is. I'm not thinking about it on the first floor while I'm in class on the third floor. Did that teacher keep it locked? Did someone else get in there? Did someone else take it? Literally, that was a huge, in talking to students, that was a huge difference for them. I wasn't sure about that too, and I was wondering about it, but I've noticed that. So, you're not at the whim of your least attentive adult, if you know what I mean. It's self-managed. Kids are putting in there. In our school, so at Cade is done it differently. This is assigned to a student. There's a number. It's registered to the student. We have the print shot across, make tags for it. So this number belongs to a specific student. They're responsible for it, like they are if they sign on a Chromebook, if they get a textbook, if they get something else. They sign an agreement with an understanding of what happens if something happens to the pouch, all that stuff. And this becomes theirs and they become part of it. The other thing I'll say is there really is the fact that everyone is doing it and everyone has it visibly also reduces kids' resistance to it. Like it's something that everyone is doing. It's not, could I sneak it past and did I not get it into Mr. So-and-so's cabinet? And it's made a real difference. And it's also changed their kids have felt more comfortable without it than they thought they would. And they like having the control of having it on them. So that's at least a few reasons that I think pouches make a huge difference.
I would also add to Principal Baldwin's response. One of the things he talked about was the teacher responsibility component of it, right? We lock it away in a classroom, they come back. The teacher feels a huge sense of responsibility, holding 25 cell phones in their class, locking it up, making sure kids come back to get it. It's a lot of work and responsibility placed upon the classroom teacher. What we noticed prior to Yonder as well was when we had cell phone policies in effect with no cell phone usage in the classroom, teachers found themselves often interrupted by cell phone use. Now I have to address the cell phone use. It's taken away from the classroom time. When the Yonder pouches were rolled out, it was interesting to me to watch dynamics of students. Students carried them almost like a security blanket with their phone, but they were okay, as Principal Baldwin said, because they had it on. And for some, it became a little bit of a fashion statement. They all knew. My nephew attends one of New Haven public schools. He has a watch. It is not an Apple Watch, but you would think it is. He just would wear it just so he can get the Yonder pouch like the other kids. And it became a cool thing, and that was in a K-8 school. So it has significantly helped and impacted culture, whereas I don't believe that we just had the cabinets, the locking cabinets, the impact it would have on the teacher and the student. I don't think it would have worked as well in New Haven public schools.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions? Alder Denton.
Thank you. Just one question. I see that we have the student feedback. What has been the feedback from the teachers?
Teachers actually have, I think Principal Baldwin and Assistant Superintendent Van Hanen had said it, that they actually feel a sense of relief themselves that they do not have to address cell phone issues. I can't tell you how many times teachers have said this is one of the best things New Haven has ever done, because every day on a daily basis, I mean, you know, you're in the building, teachers have to stop instruction to address, sometimes engage in conversation with children about, please give me your cell phone, then it becomes something more. Teachers have found a sense of relief. I think Principal Baldwin said it perfectly, is that there's not that added responsibility on a teacher's plate to ensure that cell phones are not being accessed or used during instruction or even during passing time, or kids are sneaking to the bathroom to use the phone. It's becoming non-existent in our buildings again, and they're finding it extremely helpful when they're able to encourage discourse. Kids are talking in class, kids are engaged. Engagement has increased quite. I mean, I was having a conversation with a principal the other day, and she was telling me how it was so nice to go into classrooms and see kids talking in a lesson. She said it was just one of those things that was missing for so long. And as you know, I think we move through this, teachers are becoming quite pleased with the outcome of the pouches, because it's just one less distraction that they have to then encounter.
Just to reinforce that, number one concern from August until literally the morning of the rollout from teachers was they assumed it would increase their workload because kids are going to fight it and otherwise. And it was felt it was our responsibility as the admin team to demonstrate that it was going to go in the other direction. So it's creating clarity. What happens if a kid has something they're not supposed to have? crystal clear, and it's also like alarm bells go off because it's so unusual that it's really clear exactly what happens for a teacher or staff member if they see something. They see someone with AirPods, they see a watch, they see a phone that wasn't in a pouch. They call someone on the admin team, and we handle it. And we have and that's been so I think it's reinforced for teachers that yeah, actually this is something off of our plate, and now we can focus on teaching.
I have to admit that I knew the answer to that. It was just much cooler to hear them say it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep. Any other questions? Both floors?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Punzo. What does the timeline look like for the rollout for the other high schools, and what would then be the additional cost?
It's on the previous slide.
This was, the high school pouches were included in the
340.
staffing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And-
Okay, so that's
and- Yes, it's all there. And then what's happened, we've done the walkthroughs. Every high school's had a walkthrough with our Yonder representative about where they're going to be placed. Because as Principal Borland said, a part of it is the entry. As you know, we work really hard to get all of our kids in the building as quickly as possible. So many of the principals wanted to observe New Haven Academy so they could start thinking about what happens during their entry. And then we were mounting them, getting all the materials mounted where they need to be. The pouches are in district, they're ready to go, everything's there. The messaging's been going out from the district and at the school level. It'll be part of the orientation meetings as we go up, and it's a day one policy.
okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Punzo.
And just so you know, the locking mechanisms are mounted in a place where, kids can't just go up to a locking mechanism. They're behind like a secretary's desk or somebody's desk. It's not something that kids can easily access to open the pouch. Like they need someone to actually have a device to open it.
Any other questions? I have a couple of questions. The continuity of, I think it's different, at least I've seen it differently done in one school versus another school. Have you heard any policy? Have you heard which way works better? I mean, the school I was at, kids came in, their pouches they reported to the cafeteria, their pouches were in a container. They said their name, division or color, whatever it was, and they got their pouches and they took them off. I'm not sure how Mr. Baldwin does it there. But does any one way work better, or is that up to the school and the administration?
I mean, I can speak about school. I think it's so in the K.
Just push that a little way.
In the K buildings, it's 5 through 8. It's not necessarily whole. I think we're the first whole building. It's our whole building, every student in our building. Logistically, we wouldn't have the capacity to do entry and do it that way and keep the pouches for the kids. We also, in our experience, them feeling like this belongs to them has actually helped. It's made it, I wasn't sure about it, but it's made them more invested in using them, keeping them safe, doing that, and it's something that we talked about. Every building looks different. Every building is a different size. I think we have to be aware of that, as you well know, in terms of how should this building work versus another. I think the principles are the same across the district. I think that's the important thing in terms of the overall principles of how these are used. I think it probably looks exactly the same in just about every building in terms of our expectations in the classroom.
And Yonder has been great. Our implementation specialists have spent a lot of time in district with the principals talking through every aspect of the process so that, again, they can customize the entry, what they need to do that works best for their building and their flow. So I feel very confident that that's been helpful, that principals know what they want and able to meet that.
I think in the K-8 world, a lot of times our 5th through 8th graders eat breakfast in the cafeteria. So some schools have actually done exactly what you did. They have everything on a cart, they have the grades, they have, the pouches have pockets. So a lot of our K-8s have slipped cards with the student ID number on there. I have one school in particular who their 5th and 6th graders eat breakfast in their homeroom, so the homeroom teacher has the pouch. So when they come in, they grab the breakfast, they drop the phone, and then they go and eat breakfast at the desk, and the phones are in the homeroom. So I think to Principal Baldwin's point, it's really about logistically, how is this gonna work in our building versus everybody having the same. The protocol is you drop your phone in the pouch. That's the protocol. So whether it happens during breakfast or homeroom, it just depends on how the system works in the building.
So some kids take them home?
All of our kids take them home.
Take
It's
them.
there, it's assigned to them with a number, and this is in our system, so we can look up whose number, we know who that is. We can track if it's broken, we can follow up and do replacement.
Will that be something that the other high schools will try and do?
Yes.
That's probably the best for us.
Yes.
My concern when I first heard it was, I saw the morning, the pickup seemed kind of easy, but at the end of the day, everybody's eager to get out of school. I could see that becoming a little tumultuous. I mean, how does that work? Have you gotten any feedback, positive, negative?
I actually watched it at a school recently. I thought it was really smart the way they did it. As the kids were coming into the cafeteria to get ready to dismiss by bus, the staff had the unlocking mechanisms, and as the kids' buses were being called, as the kids were sitting down, they were unlocking the devices. What was really funny about watching the kids, they actually didn't take, even though it was unlocked, a lot of the kids didn't take their phones out of the pouch until they were getting ready to actually walk out and drop the pouch in the basket. Again, I think it's logistically, like, how does it work in some schools versus the other? I know one middle school, they get dismissed by their last period class, and the teacher just unlocks it, and they take the phone and they keep the pouch. And so I think it's kind of how, whatever the setup is in the building.
Yeah.
What I'll say at the high school level, because we don't do it there because the bell rings and kids go, this is also why kids keep it, but we have 6 stations where we put these out at dismissal. And after the first 2 days, it doesn't take any extra time. They walk by, just pop it open. It's just about.
Was there?
My phone?
That's what I said.
Nobody's calling me.
So again, and this is all analog. It's just a lock that you can't.
That's a lot.
Yes, we also do pouch checks every couple of weeks where we check who's tried to damage it and is it damaged, is it still working, so we can do it. So that's it, and then Mr. Negro would just carry this around for the day, and at the end of the day, just pop it open in there.
So that's a magnet, sort of?
Yep.
So yep.
And it actually fits earpods, watches, phones.
Can
They're
fit-
big enough to fit anything.
Can fit up to 3 phones, we've noticed.
Yep, anything wearable.
They have 3 phones.
Well,
Yes.
Have you had much damage?
Really? I mean,
Not
always have
significant,
one or
but
two.
you have a few that damage, we do have extra, and we're still working out the full policy of how they get replaced, and some charging involved with that
Yeah.
for intentional damage.
Have you heard comments from principals about much resistance at the beginning? I'm sure there was with some students. That's obvious.
not as much as you would think.
I thought there'd be more.
Yeah, it really, not as much as you would think. I mean, we did have some principals say, they had more resistance from parents, that they didn't want and then principal would call the parent and say, here's what, they didn't really necessarily understand what it was. And once the principal made that call and kind of just walked the parent through it, we had compliance. The kids actually, we didn't find it to be that, I don't know how your experience was. We didn't have much resistance.
Older than you.
I've been dealing with device-related nonsense for 30 years. And dating myself, it started with beepers. You remember the beepers? Joe Montagna used to have a desk drawer full of beepers that we confiscate. And Bonnie Pachesta at Edgewood would conduct classroom checks where kids would have to show their cell phone, and we'd take them and put them in the office. So, At first, I was really skeptical. I wasn't sure how it was going to be received, but somebody who's in the building, the largest K-8 in the district, and seeing how it's working, I'm pleasantly surprised. And again, like you said, I haven't seen any pushback from the kids at all. Less, as we know, phones equal social media equal fights. I mean, that's the first place we go when there's a big fight, and we try to find out what's going on social media. It's been unbelievable, to say the least, as far as like the culture of the school and not dealing with, you know, who said what and what's going on. And it's just, you know, not saying that it's perfect. The rollout and the implementation was quick, it was easy, and you know, I'm very happy with what I see.
Very good. Any other questions? Alder Flores?
Thank you. In terms of the extras that you have, it's good to hear that there's very little resistance, but just for like a hypothetical, if there were a high school where there is a unusual amount of damage to the Yonder pouches, or maybe at the beginning of rollout, how many extra do we have, and is there like an easy process to where if you were to run out, then contacting Yonder Pouch and obtaining more? Like, what does that process sort of look like?
So to my understanding, I think this is true for all schools, Yonder built in for us extras. I had extras from the beginning.
Yeah.
And we have a very clear expectations that kids and parents sign. They understand, again, it's like signing a Chromebook, it's like signing a textbook. They've signed it saying, we understand that we are going to have to pay if we lose it, if we damage. And we've collected from just about everybody that we needed to. So we can use those funds to replace pouches if we need to. Again, we just collected them from all the seniors that graduated. All of them are in working order. We will turn them over to the next group. So we're starting the year right now with a surplus because of the extra we had and because of what we'll be able to collect. So it's doable. And the Yonder folks were really helpful in terms of setting up. It is about being really clear. We used a lot of time to make it clear to everybody involved the expectations. And I know my colleagues at other schools, for high schools, are doing that as well as doing that as well.
Just my last question. Have teachers not used their cell phone as much because they see it? I mean, I don't know.
That would be a great study, I guess.
So it came up, you know, imagine high school kids.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
High school kids brought up, this was the first question about fairness.
Yeah.
And we answered honestly. Our answer was twofold. One, we're adults at work that have some responsibilities. And I said, one of the ways that I can keep you safe is that I have this so that I can access it if I need. But internally, we've had long conversations with our staff about modeling and acceptable use. And do you have to use a phone or can you use something else? Do you need to be on your phone? And in classroom time, let's demonstrate that classroom time is classroom time. So we talked about that as a modeling. So that's been.
I know those conversations as well happened at the K-8 building. You know, just like we want to model for our kids how to dress appropriately and those kinds of things. So I think, and another thing too, just to go back to the question about contracts. Yonder actually has a standardized kind of contract that schools can use and make their own. So all of our K-8 schools have a very similar contract that parents and students sign, and it's returned basically saying you are responsible. I can tell you that at the K-8 level, there were some principals who did say, like, I had to collect $30 from this family because they damaged the pouch, but it was maybe less than a handful of kids.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for that presentation, and that was a good move. Good move.
Thank you.
That's good news. Okay, next.
Let's go on with your distance.
Thank you.
Let's go get your Yonder pouch.
Yeah, the rest of the high schools have a new model to follow.
Yes. And we're thankful, so I want to say publicly, we're thankful for Principal Baldwin for taking on the challenge of being the first high school to implement the Yonder pouches, but also opening his doors to his colleagues to allow them to come see how it works, right? That's tremendous. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
You haven't lived till you try to take a cell phone away from a teenager.
It's different.
You're the model, you're the poster child.
You think the end of the world is coming.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so we're transitioning into our summer learning plan 2025. We can go to the next slide. So our summer learning plan, we have 6 components to the summer learning in New Haven Public Schools. First, our grades K to 3 program, then our strengths and self-efficacy based student support program that's targeted for grades 6 to 8, our extended school year program, most people know it as our ESY program, our English Learners Academy, high school credit recovery, and dual credit. These are extended learning opportunities that we have in New Haven Public Schools. Most programs run July 1st to July 25th. The only program that runs a little later is high school credit recovery, and that's because we want to meet the required 20 days of learning. So in NHPS, we're focused on developing a coherent and focused and high-quality summer learning plan to advance student achievement. So I'll talk briefly about each program. Our K-3 learning plan has a program in 6 schools. Those schools are King Robinson, Fairhaven, Bishop Woods, Troop Hill Central, and Davis. And actually one correction, because we moved Hill Central to Clemente because we're putting the solar panels in Hill Central's parking lot, just that you're aware of that. And our programs run either 8 to 12:30 or 9 to 1:30. There is a reading component, a mathematics component, science, as well as an enrichment component. Our enrichment consists of coding, world languages, and arts in residency. For our students, we of course will focus on STEM. We have some, as I mentioned earlier, some coding, but some investigative learning taking place in the K-3 program as well. We're personalizing the learning experiences, continuing what we utilize during the regular school year. So our same HMH into reading program for our reading. So it's a continuation for our teachers and staff that they're familiar with the programs that we're using. And transportation is provided for our students in our K-3 learning plan. What you will notice is that we have cut down the number of schools that we have open back to pre-pandemic levels. So we were pre-pandemic, we would have programming at 6 schools for K-3, and that's where we're back to now. When we had our pandemic relief funds, we had 12 schools that were open, and so we've gradually backed down to 6 schools. So that's set to begin July 1st. Our extended school year program, it's housed at East Rock in Dr. Mayo. Typically, we would have extended school year as well at Wilbur Cross, but you'll probably know that we have shut Cross down for the summer in order to do some building maintenance work for Wilbur Cross this year. So our extended school year program consists of enrichment activities. We provided in collaboration with community-based organizations. Transportation is provided, and this is legally mandated through students' individualized educational plans for our ESY program. And we still offer regularly reading, math, writing, but also enrichment opportunities for our students as well. Our Strengths and Self-Efficacy Based Student Support Program, this is a program at FAME. It runs from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The students that are enrolled in this program are students, designated students in grades 6 to 8. We are targeting this program for kids who are having attendance issues, chronic absenteeism, we recognize to be high. We are also targeting students that have some behavioral concerns as well. we're using this program to reconnect with students and families, providing them positive engagements over the summer to re-engage them so that they can make connections with different adults that work in New Haven Public Schools, so that they are ready to start this new school year fresh. This program is ran by our Office of Youth, Family, and Community Engagement. It will focus on spoken word, STEM, food, field trips, some social justice, but you see the crutch of it is building relationships with students and families, sports and recreational. Now we have some 6th to 8th graders that are coming in that may not fit the categories that I outlined. We will definitely take a look at enrolling those students as well. The program is housed at Fame and is from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We also have our high school English Learners Academy. These are for newcomers to the district, targeted as high school students. Some of these students may have interrupted learning, which is referred to as SLIFE, students with limited or interrupted formal education. And so we want to make sure we're re-engaging these students and providing them with a positive experience in a smaller setting. Typically, we have about 50 students that are enrolled in our English Learners Academy. It's an introduction to academics. We're building relationships, team building, and some college and career exposure. As I stated, these are for high school students who are newcomers to New Haven Public Schools. And this program is housed at Hill House. So this program occurs at Hill House. I'm sure most of you are very familiar with our high school credit recovery program. This is our program where we allow students who need a little extra time to earn credit in classes that they weren't successful with yet. And I use the word yet because we use the credit recovery program to provide them with an opportunity to earn their credit for classes that they did not earn during the regular school year. Our students have the opportunity to earn 2 credits in our high school credit recovery program. We're housing the credit recovery program in 3 sites, Metropolitan Business Academy, Hill House, and New Haven Academy. Typically, the program is housed at Wilbur Cross, but because we have closed Wilbur Cross, New Haven Academy will have Wilbur Cross students at their particular school. Hill House runs its own program, and then MBA is for all of the other high schools. We'll offer a variety of courses that students are exposed to during the school year. We make every effort that if there's a course that we're not running, let's say at MBA, for a student from career, but it's being ran at Hill House, that student will attend at Hill House. So although it's primarily all Hill House students are the NHA program for Wilbur Cross, if certain course offerings are only offered at a particular course, we will enroll students in that particular schools. We found much success rolling with having the 3 sites versus 1 site that we previously had. And so limited as far as any disputes or issues among students, and we're able to reach more students as well. Finally, we have our dual credit program. You've heard a lot about our dual credit opportunities. These are opportunities for our students to either earn industry certifications or college credit over the summer. We provide bus passes for these students. Bus passes are also provided for our students in the Credit Recovery NL Academy as well. We have a variety of partnerships, whether it's with Yale, SCSU, or Excel Academy. Excel Academy is who we partner with during the school year as well to help our students earn CNA certification. All of these programs are are fully enrolled. And we're always looking for more students. We meet with those students to provide all students across the district with these opportunities. And so this is going really, really well. This is part of our Career Connected Pathways. And we want to make sure we're providing as many opportunities for our students as possible to earn college credits or industry certifications prior to them exiting New Haven Public Schools. So with that, I can take questions on our summer learning plan.
Thank you, thank you. Any questions from my colleagues? No questions. It's pretty, it's more extensive than I anticipated. And is there a cost attached to this?
So,
I mean, obviously there is, but.
So I do not have the final cost down. One of the, and you're, I'm sure, familiar with Dr. Necrone's budget mitigation plan. One of the tenets of it is reducing costs for summer plan. And so the reduction last year, we ran at eight sites, and we ran the program K-8 at 8 sites, which you've heard me present today, was K-3, 6 sites, and then a 6-8 program at 1 site. What we did intentionally, because we wanted to make sure we still provided opportunities for our students, we made sure that we granted permits to some of our partners much earlier in the process, helping to get the word out for our community partners that were running programming, especially at the middle school age level, helping them get the word out to our students so that students still would have the opportunities and families would have the opportunities to engage in positive programs. So we'll know final costs at the end of July, but we know that we're probably coming in much lower than the previous year. From summer 23 to summer 24, we reduced from 10 to 8 K-8 sites, and we shifted transportation a little bit. We were able to reduce approximately $2 million. And so last year, summer school came in at about $2 million total. So we're looking to come in under that amount. And we've shortened up the number of days by a few days as well.
Alder Marks?
Just a question. The one slide that wasn't clear to me, sort of who was eligible for it, was the K-3 learning plan.
So those are all of our current kindergarten, first, second, and third grade students.
Is there room for any child who wants to be in the program, or is it first come, first served?
No. All of our K-3, we've been accepting applications on a rolling basis since probably about the beginning of May. And so we've been allowing all New Haven public school students that are applying, they are eligible. Now, we no longer are eligible to provide transportation because we needed to have transportation and to get the bus routes, but if families bring them, we are accepting our K-3 students.
So about that, how many students are you serving in that program?
So our official numbers are not in yet, but we know right now we're at approximately 900 to 1,000 students already enrolled in a K-3 program.
It just seems to me that it would be just a critical and valuable place for children to be, for working parents, and parents instead of having the television be their summer camp counselor.
Yes.
So how much sort of advertising and outreach about this program goes out at the schools? Like, would you say it's, do the families know about this free resource? If I were to share it with families, would they be surprised to know? And
I would be surprised if they did not know. We send several robocalls. We have flyers at schools as well. Principals, assistant principals, they are out there giving them to families that are picking up their children at schools. So they are aware of it. What tends to happen with our summer plan, our program runs 8 to 12:30 or 9 to 1:30. So sometimes that's not convenient for some of our families because they're working families. And so we make sure the city of New Haven with the guide, the summer guide for maybe some all-day programming that may occur, has been helpful for those families. So some of our kids will not enroll, but some of them will enroll in our program.
So do you think it's fair to say that all of our K through 3 children in the city should have a free place for enrichment and activity?
I think that we provide the opportunity for our families. I know city resources are, that's more of a bigger question around city resources, our community partners. We know right now, with the state of the nation, right? I was just in a conversation with someone early this morning as I was walking the track around grant funding for a STEM program that she typically runs for after school. So I think it's a little hard to say, do I would I love it? Yes, right? I would love for all of our kids to have that type of programming. I'm not sure if all of our partners across the city and can do that. And we do it in New Haven Public Schools, but as you see, we do it for 4.5 hours.
One question for me, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Just regarding food,
absolutely.
obviously it seems critical that
Oh.
breakfast and lunch is being provided, but can you speak to, it's a little bit off topic, but food availability for public school students in the summer who aren't in these programs or beyond these dates? I know historically, food has been provided. Looks like August is not covered, so just
No,
curious about food for kids.
there are summer meals program that goes on longer than some of the summer learning programs. Those go on as well as we have our food service task force that works on creating opportunities to feed when even that program goes. Right now, they work on the gap. There's approximately a 2 to 3 week gap between the end of all programming and the start of school. And the task force works on ways to provide meals during that time as well.
Can I just clarify, so if a child was not able to be in the K through 3 program, is this the only free food available, or could they get food elsewhere? Even if they're not in this program?
Right, yeah. And there flies and information about where all summer meals programs take place. And any student under the age of 18 is able to, so it's not even, it expands to all of the children.
Right. Even our at the sites where we have our summer programs, to Dr. White's point, any child under 18 can come to any of those sites not enrolled in our program and still come and get a meal.
Thank you for your efforts to keep our children fed and engaged.
Critically important.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed Marks. Any other questions?
And thanks for that question.
When did you say that schools go offline, when everyone should be out?
So July 25th and July 29th for our high school credit recovery. Some of our partners are running programs until August 1st. So some of our community partners are running until August 1st, and then that will provide us with the time we need to clean our buildings, to get them ready.
That was my next question.
To get them ready for the start of the year. This is the first year, I guess, I could also share that we've taken several of our facilities offline. We have 21 facilities that are offline this summer. And then ending all of our programming by August 1st would allow us to do the proper maintenance of our buildings, to have them ready for the start of the school year.
Perfect. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't know you were here.
She got company.
Yeah, I see she has.
She got
I
company.
didn't even know she was here.
Okay, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on these items? Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on these items? Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on these items? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public portion of this meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, sorry, it's a few minutes later.
You want to twist some arms and figure out what we can do with that movie that we talked about? That budget?
Okay.
Yes, sir.